is magic. This is what the world is all about.
MagRack knows what turns you on.
I can't stop smiling!
On-demand television with original and innovative programming that gets you closer to the things you love.
It'll open up a whole new world.
From wild cars to guitars.
Here we go.
Video gaming to personal training.
And Mambo!
Cooking to Pilates and more.
Everything happens right here.
With the power of MagRack, you can watch what you want, when you want.
And prepare to be hooked.
This dish is going to make you so happy.
Thank you very much.
Call your cable operator or go to magrack.com and find out if you can get MagRack. Tailor-made to your interests.
I got some mean donuts on my car.
On your schedule. MagRack. TV for whatever turns you on.
No matter where you play on the baseball field, you're going to have to throw a baseball. Pitcher, catcher, outfield, infield, every position will need to make a good hard throw at some point. It's a skill that you must possess if you're going to play this game.
Right now we're going to talk about throwing mechanics. You need to know there's 3 things in throwing the ball to the best of your ability. Number 1 is a stretching program and arm exercises. Number 2 is mechanics of throwing. There's a certain way we want you to throw. And the third one is long toss. But right now we're going to start with arm exercises. Now normally you do 8 or 10 of them in a row, and this is to get your shoulders, your arms, and your blood circulating before you actually pick up a ball and start throwing. Here's a couple of them. First of all, we're going to start our arms down at our side. We're going to go wide. As we go halfway, our palms turn and face forward. We clap at the top, come back down. That's 1. We're going to go 2. We're going to go down. We're going to go 3. We're going to go down 4. And we're going to go 1 more, and we're going to go 5. All right? The next one, we're going to turn our thumbs down and in, start at your thigh, and only go to shoulder height. All right? We're going to do 5 of them. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Okay? The next one is goalpost. We're going to get our elbows up, get them as high as you can get them up in there, and we're going to rotate down and under, and then all the way back. Now keep your elbows up. Down and back, that's 1. Down and back is 2. Down and back is 3. Down 4. Down 5. Okay, you can drop them down. Now you're going to take your throwing arm, pull your elbow straight out, pull your fingers and thumbs back, and get that wrist and your forearm nice and loose. All right? And again, we hold it for 10, 15 seconds or so. Reverse it, pull it back down and under. Again, we're trying to get those forearms and wrists nice and loose so when we throw a baseball. Next one, we're going to pull it across our front of us, all right, with your elbow or your shoulder. Pull it across, try to stretch out your shoulder a little bit. Stretch it across. Next one, pull it behind you now. Let's see if we can pull it behind us and really stretch out that shoulder and armpit area and chest muscles, really stretch it out. Make sure you do all these arm exercises before you pick up a ball and throw. Okay, now we're at throwing mechanics. And the very first throwing mechanic that everybody's got to do is called a jab, step, and turn. Now I'm left-handed. Left-handers, left foot goes out and turns. Right-hander would do the exact opposite. It's just a little jab, step, and turn. Now what this does is when I stride at my target now, my front shoulder's going to be closed. And that's what we want in order to throw well. This front foot should be in line with my back foot and my target. Make sure the kid does not throw extremely across his body or extremely open to his body. We want to try to have that foot going straight down the line at the target. If my foot turns good, my front shoulder now will be pointing towards my target, which is exactly what we want. The next mechanic is this. When we take the ball out of the glove, the hand should be on top, or we say show the ball to the ground. Now it's down and up, down and up. And you don't have to stretch back. It naturally folds and get the elbow up. But the ball should face back. A lot of people don't know that. The ball should face back there so I can whip it forward. And it only stays there for a split second. But what a lot of kids do, the ball comes out of the glove facing up. Now it's down and up. The ball faces the back of my head. Now all I do is push the ball. You can throw all right that way, but you're not going to throw real hard. The next mechanic, after we do down and up, next mechanic after down and up is our glove. We want to point our glove to the target, either this way, or at the elbow. Doesn't make any difference. Everybody does a little bit different. But the final result should be pulling the glove into our heart, our armpit, our chest, somewhere in this area. We want to go this way. We don't want to go that way. Make sure you pull it to you. Very, very important. Now the next mechanic is our back foot pivot or hip rotation. After I throw, that back foot's going to turn out and swing equal to our front foot. It's called hip rotation. We want to be here. We want to get a good strong hip rotation, and that leg should swing equal to our front side. A lot of kids turn it, but they keep it back, so they're restricting themselves. We want it to swing forward and finish equal to our front foot. Again, we need a real good hip rotation right in here. That'll give you your extra pop in the ball and throw the ball a little bit harder. The last mechanic, and really, really important, and kids get lazy doing this, is we don't get good extension. We don't finish our throw. My head and top half should finish over my front knee. And I'm going to try to hand the ball to my partner. So we want to be out here. And my head and top half should be over my front knee. A lot of kids throw straight up, and they're putting too much strain on their arm. We need to really reach out and pull it down and really get good extension. These mechanics go for anybody, whether you're infielder, outfielder, pitcher, or catcher. Now we're going to show you a drill that will help you with throwing mechanics. Guys, I want you to turn your foot out, your back foot. I want you to point your front foot at your target and spread out to where you normally would have if you had thrown. So we're going to eliminate our step. We're going to swing the ball down and up, get the elbow up, we're going to point our glove, and now all I want you to do is pivot and have your foot swing forward equal to your front foot. Ready? We're going to go. And finish your throw. That's it. Try it again. Spread yourself out to where you normally would throw, ball up, glove out, and pivot. Make sure you pivot on that back foot. Make sure that back foot swings equal to your front foot. We're going to be here and pivot. And reach out and try to throw it and hand it to your partner. All right? So really bend over when you throw. Go ahead. Ready? Go. Good. Okay, next thing I want you to make sure you point your front foot a little bit towards your target. That's a boy, right there. Get it up and then throw. Good. Make sure you get right on your toe, pivot that back foot. Let me see you. Go ahead. Good. Now here we are at long toss. Long toss is extremely important for a kid to increase his arm velocity. It's very, very important that we throw long distance. You can't get a good arm by throwing 30 feet. Try to throw twice the distance of the bases you play on. If you play on 60-foot bases, try to throw the ball 120 feet. If you play on 90-foot bases or a Major League Diamond, try to throw the ball 180 feet. It's very, very important we don't baby arms. You got to throw long toss to increase your arm velocity. Here's some of the boys doing it.
As we've seen, there are a number of things that you need to do if you're going to become a good thrower and increase your arm strength. Remember, do your arm exercises, work on the proper mechanics, and make sure you long toss. It's the only sure way that you'll increase your arm strength. Strong pitching is the key to any championship team. It's the most important and valuable position on any ball club. be a good pitcher, you'll need the proper fundamentals that we went over in throwing mechanics. But now you'll need to add one more element, and that's the pitching windup.
Now we're going to talk about the fundamentals of a windup. There are certain things we must do. First of all, I'd like to line up a little bit off center. It's easier for a kid to rotate back than to do this move. Sometimes this is a little awkward for a kid. So let's line up a little bit off center to the plate. Next thing, very, very important, is a baby step back. Make sure the kids just take a baby step back and don't go all the way down the mound because it throws off the coordination. Baby step back, foot turns. I want that foot turned in front of the rubber or against it. Never throw on top of the rubber because you're going to slip off. That's an incorrect move. The foot turns, goes inside the rubber. Next move, when I pick up my front leg, I want this thigh parallel to the ground so I can gather on my backside. That'll prevent rushing. The biggest problem in throwing is trying to go forward before our arm gets up. Well, when the thigh gets up parallel, you're going to prevent that. Next thing is this kneecap should be pointing towards the opposite bag. This will close this front shoulder to the target. We don't want it open, we want it closed. Very, very important. Two minimums, thigh up, kneecap towards that bag. Now we're in good gathering position, weight back, we're not rushing, and now our throwing mechanics take over and we throw. Remember, pitchers, this is not easy. You're 46 feet away, you're 60 feet away. It's tough to throw a strike. That home plate's only 17 inches wide. It's not easy. Work on proper mechanics. Have the patience to work hard. Stay under control, don't overthrow. It's a great position, it's a lot of fun, you're in control of the game, but it's not easy. You're gonna have to do some work.
Every position on the baseball diamond, of course, is an important one, but it's hard to argue with anyone who thinks that catching is the most important of them all. It's a position where your attitude and hustle will reflect on your entire team's play. It's also a position that requires many different skills depending on the circumstances of the game.
The first thing, and maybe the most important thing about learning how to be a catcher, is to know the proper use and to have the proper fitting of catching equipment. A lot of time young catchers really don't know how to put on their equipment or how the fitting should be. First of all, when it comes to shin guards, we should know that all catchers fasten their shin guards to the outside part of their legs. Never fasten them to the inside part. If they're running down the line on the field, they have a chance of locking in together and have a chance of falling down. Next thing is the chest protector. Make sure this chest protector is nice and firm and snug on the body. Not so tight where it cuts off circulation, but if my catcher has to move, this chest protector should not move all over his body. And finally is the mask. Make sure the mask is nice and snug on his face so that if he gets hit by a baseball, it still stands still, and if he has to move anywhere, it's tight and moves with him. This is the proper use and the proper fitting of the catching equipment. Before a catcher learns how to catch a ball, he should first know how to set up in the catching box to receive the ball. There is a certain distance that we would like to be. You should know that if we are too close to the hitter, we have to worry about catcher's interference. If we are too far back from the hitter, when we receive the ball, the pitch will be out of the strike zone. So there is a certain distance that we need to learn how to be from the hitter. Well, we would like to be 6 to 8 inches away from the closest knee of the hitter. And one of the ways that we check this out is by using our glove or our bare hand. So if we had a right-handed hitter up right now, and we're not familiar with the way we can get to our distance, our catcher would stick out his glove. And we would like to be 6 to 8 inches away from his closest knee, so that now I know that I'm in a good position to receive the pitch without any danger happening. If I had a left-handed hitter, my way would I just stick out my bare hand. And again, I would try to be 6 to 8 inches away from his knee. Before I receive the pitch, I have to set myself up to give myself the best chance to receive it. Now we're going to work on receiving the pitch, getting into a stance to receive the pitch, and framing the pitch. First of all, he's going to get his feet a little bit wider now with his heels down on the ground. All catchers, when receiving the ball, you should have your heels on the ground. If you can't get them on the ground, all that tells you is you need to get your feet a little bit wider. It gives you better balance and makes you a better receiver. Next, my glove hand is going to be in a slight L, my target out in front of me. My throwing hand, I'm going to have a fist with it, a loose fist, thumb pointing behind my pocket to protect my hand from a foul tip. My target is going to be about 1 foot in front of my knees, and I would like to keep every ball in a foot radius of my knees. Now, when receiving the pitch, we'd like to keep the pitch in a box or in a square to make the umpire, make the ball look good for the umpire. If the ball is to my glove hand side, I'll catch it this way with thumb up. If the ball is high in a strike zone, I'll catch it this way, slightly tilting my glove down. If the ball is to my throwing side, I'll slightly backhand the ball. And if the ball is down low, I'll catch it down here and slightly bring it back in. Trying to keep every pitch looking good for the umpire, and hopefully I'll get that close call in a tight game. Now, we have a man on base, so when a man gets on base, our catcher has to get into a new stance. He has a couple things to worry about right now. He has to worry about the threat of a man stealing second base, and he also has to worry about a ball in the dirt. So he's got to create lateral movement here as a catcher. Number one, it helps him center the ball so he can get in position to throw, and number two, with lateral movement, I have more ground side to side, so if a ball is thrown bad by a pitcher, I can block it. Let's look at our catcher right now. He's going to get into his new stance. He's going to duck out his feet and get his chest up and head up. And that butt is up a little bit because we got to shoot out of there pretty quick. Our new target is here, but now our throwing hand is a loose fist, thumb pointing towards the sky, 2 inches behind the glove. Number one is the glove protects the hand, and number two, the reason why the hand is here is because when the guy runs, this is where I'll make my exchange. Now our catcher's getting ready to throw, and it's a two-step process to second base. Right from here, we'll go like this. Step one, right foot centers the ball, and step two, we explode out, and right now we're in a great position to throw somebody out if he wishes to steal second base. Drills that we have our young catchers do to work on creating rhythm with their hands and their feet, and to also work on your exchange as a catcher is a skill. We call it the skipping drill. With this skipping drill, you can really work on your catcher's mechanics as far as throwing to second base. The drill looks like this. My catcher will have a ball in his glove, and he's going to get in the stance with his hands correctly here, and I'll tell him to skip. Now, when I tell him to go, you're going to work on making an exchange. You can see he did a great job with the exchange, got strong, and is in a good, powerful position to throw to second base. If he's in his catching stance, when he does his footwork, this is where I would want him to be. This is a great drill to get some rhythm and to create some good muscle memory for a catcher. Right now, we're going to work on the proper positioning for a catcher when it comes to blocking balls in the dirt. First of all, as a catcher, I've got to have my knees as wide as they could possibly go. If I'm wide, I create balance, but I also make myself a bigger catcher. Gives me a wider area to block. Next is my throwing hand. thumb in, fingers around, and this throwing hand goes straight down in the ground with the palm facing out. The reason is because I want to show the meat of my forearm. If I get hit there, it will sting, but I'll still play. If my palm is turned halfway, I show the bone of my arm. If I get hit there, that hurts. I don't play. So show the meat of the arm. Next is your glove. You got to think, catchers, your glove is a fork. And on the top of this pocket here, there's 3 prongs. And I want to stick this glove directly straight down in the ground. Catchers, remember, my glove is for 2 purposes only. Number 1, to protect my throwing hand, and number 2 is protect between my legs. When a ball's in the dirt, I'm not trying to catch it, I'm trying to block it. I want to catch balls in the dirt off my chest protector here. This glove is just for safety. This is a great position. From here, I'll lean slightly forward, so when the ball hits, I can deaden the ball in front of me. A great position to end up in when you're blocking balls in the dirt. Remember, catchers, because you choose to play this position, a couple things. Number 1, in order to be a good catcher, you should know that it's the most physically demanding position to play in the game. You've got to outwork everybody. It's that hard. I also think it's the funnest position to play. But you got to like to work, and you got to like to get dirty. If you like to do those things, you got a chance of being a pretty good catcher. And also remember, because I chose to be a catcher, I've chose to lead my team. The catcher's the general. He's the leader. I can control the emotions of my team. If you like being a leader, you like being in charge, it's a great position to play.
When you're talking about infield, you're talking about a subject that's near and dear to my heart. I spent 12 seasons in the major leagues playing the infield. People ask me, what's the secret of becoming a good infielder? Looking back, I could think of only one. Actually, it's not a secret at all. It's practice. As a player, you can never take enough ground balls, but you do want to practice the right thing. The first thing I'd like to talk about at becoming a good infielder is you got to have a good starting position. Our starting position is very, very important because it allows us to move from side to side to catch ground balls. The first one I'm going to talk about is what we teach the little guys. The little guys, what we try to get them to do is we get them with their feet slightly past shoulder width. We want the weight on the inside balls of their feet, their hands in a good position, and what we try to get them to do is just kind of rock back and forth. The movement creates balance, and to be a good infielder, you have to have balance. So we rock back and forth. Our hands are out in front of us, and what happens is when the ball starts to go to the plate, we start to move a little bit quicker. The next one I teach is for the older guys. This one's a little bit more advanced. And what I tell them is I don't care which foot you start with, right foot or left foot. I'm going to teach left foot because that's the one that I started with. The first thing we do is when the pitcher gets on the mound, we come to a position, we start to get set. We bend over, bend forward at the waist just a little bit. That creates balance in our lower half. What we do now, as I said, I'm going to start with my left foot. You take a half a step forward with your left foot, and then you separate. Your feet are going to be slightly past shoulder width. You want your feet down on the ground when that ball gets in the strike zone. The weight's going to be on the inside part of your feet. Your hands will come to a position right here. This will allow me that when the pitch is in the zone, when my feet hit the ground, I'll be able to get a good jump to go to my right or to my left. Now I'm going to take you through a sequence of what we're trying to do as the ball is being hit towards us. Where we're trying to set the ball up in our body, how our feet are supposed to work, where our hands, all of it's going to flow to the ground. And I'm going to take you right through that sequence right now. As the ball is being hit, I'm going to try and set this ball up in the center of my body, slightly to my glove side. The way that I'm going to do that, my feet have to work for me. The proper footwork is when the ball is coming to me and I got the ball in the center to my glove side, I'm going to take a right-left movement to the ball. My hands will float to the ground. My feet, this right toe should be slightly behind the left toe. The ball again, I'm trying to place it in the center of my body, slightly to my glove side. My hands are going to be out in front of me. This hand is going to be on top of the glove right here. My head's going to be up. My chest is going to be up. My legs are going to be flexed. And I'm going to be with my hands out in front of me. This is the proper fielding position. Now as the ball arrives to me and I start to catch this ball, what is the sequence and what is the footwork that I'm going to use? Well, we use two. One is called switching your feet. The other one is called taking a crow hop. So the first one that I'm going to show you is as you catch this ball, you're going to bring it to you. You're going to take this right foot and you're going to replace it with this left foot right where that left foot is real quick. It's called switching your feet. I bring it in to me just a little bit and I switch my feet. This gets me to my power side, on my power side to throw. My shoulder, my hip, my knee, and my front toe are all pointed at my target. I'm in a good position. My weight's back, the ball's up. Now, as I pull this arm down and I rotate, the ball will come up and I should get good action, a good rotation, a good solid four-seam spin towards first base. The next one that I will show you is what we call taking a crow hop, the old expression, taking a crow hop. Pretty much the same sequence. I bring the ball into me. As I start to bring it in, I'm going to take this foot and I'm going to cross over in front just a little bit. It's going to look basically the same. I'm going to wind up in the same position. Power side on my right side, shoulder, hip, knee, toe close, right towards my target. As I rotate down, again, getting good rotation on the ball going towards first base. The one thing that we don't want you to do is to cross your feet behind. What happens is now I can't stay on line with my target. Once I cross behind, my shoulders start to sling and I wind up starting to sling the ball and I never get to my power side. So I want to make sure that my feet either switch or they cross in front. Now let me give you a quick recap of the whole sequence as far as what we're trying to do as an infielder. First thing, starting position. Then forward. Creates balance on the balls of our feet. Left, separate. Now, balls hit. Where are we trying to place this ball? We're trying to place this ball in the center of our body. As we move to it, proper footwork sequence, we're going to go right, left, catch the ball, hands are out in front of us, heads up, good flex at the legs, we catch this ball, and then we're going to go right, left, and throw it. So the sequence is good start, ball's hit to you, center the ball, right, left, catch it, right, left, throw it. The one thing you're going to realize here is that to be a good infielder, repetition. You got to practice over and over and over so it becomes natural. Your start, fielding the ground ball, putting it in the right spot, the footwork, the right, left, catch it, the right, left, throw it. It's all repetition and doing it over and over and over. That's the way you become a good infielder. Atta baby. Center the ball, right, left, atta boy, come on, center it, right, left, catch it, right, left, throw it, atta boy, come on, good hands out in front of you, right, left, throw, that's it, right towards your target, atta baby, that's very good, atta boy, good job, good footwork, right, left, that's it. The next part of infield play that I'm going to talk about is one that I think that we overlook a lot, and that is flipping a ball to a base, underhand. As the ball is hit to me, as I catch this ball,
I have to let the guy that's receiving the ball be able to see it. So the first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to drop my glove, take my glove out. Now he can visibly see the ball. My left side's going to open. I'm going to take this ball as my hand drops, this glove drops away. I'm going to give this ball to him with a little bit of a firm wrist, and I'm going to follow the ball. That helps the ball stay on the same flight, and I want it to travel uphill. I want the ball to be up in his chest. It's very hard for a guy receiving the ball for the flight of the ball to travel down. The other things that I'd like to see is make sure as your hand drops and I give this to him, I'm going to follow it, take it right to him. The things that we don't want to see is I don't want to see the ball travel underneath your arm, or as you catch this ball and try and flip it like a helicopter and be on this back side. We want to take this ball from right here, glove goes, I open up, my hand drops, I flip it, and I follow the ball right to him. This happens an awful lot in baseball, where I'm flipping it to the second baseman on a double play, second baseman flipping it to me, shortstop on a double play, the first baseman flipping it to the pitcher covering. It happens more than you think. So make sure you learn how to do it the right way. Very important part of the game, learn how to flip the ball to the base. Catch the ball, drop the glove, make sure you follow the ball to him. Follow the ball to him, that a boy. Make the ball travel uphill, a little bit of a firm wrist, that a baby. You don't want the ball to hang, travel right uphill, that a boy, take it right to him. That's it, follow it, that a boy. Hands out in front, let him see it, that a baby, that a boy, code man.
Let's talk about what it takes to become a good infielder. First question I always get from parents is, what about the equipment? What size glove should I use? Well, for me, if you're going to be a middle infielder, the smaller the glove, the better, simply because we handle the ball an awful lot. We have to be able to take the ball out with quickness and be able to not have the ball hang up in our glove. So the smaller the glove will be better. Number two, repetition. If you're going to be a good infielder, you have to catch 1,000 ground balls. Do it over and over and over again. And remember, you're never going to catch a ball 100% clean all the time. But if you stay at it, you're going to become a good infielder. Repetition is going to make you a better infielder. The outfield position is one of tremendous responsibility. After all, if it gets by you, there's nobody behind you. As an outfielder, you of course have the responsibility to catch the ball, ground balls and fly balls. And you must also be able to throw runners out who are trying to take an extra base. It's a tough place to play, but it can also be a lot of fun.
Now we're going to talk about outfield play. Outfield play, very, very simple to teach, but it's very, very tough to be a good outfielder. Number one, ground balls to the outfielder. It's the same basic position as an infielder. We want you to spread your feet out wide, put the ball in the center of your body, slightly to your glove side. But in outfield, we want to charge the ball a little bit quicker than we do in the infield. We want to get going towards the infield so we have a good throw. Next thing, make sure you take a good crow hop. And what I mean is that you have to take a real big hop and get going, tucking that front shoulder, getting that arm up, and pulling that glove down. Make sure you take a good crow hop going towards the infield. Kids, one terminology you're going to hear a lot whether you play the infield or outfield is the term crow hop. I want to make sure that you know exactly what I'm talking about. When you take a crow hop, you're going to move your foot and turn it out just like we did in throwing class, and we're going to hop into it, get on your backside, and pull the ball down. Let me do it again. Make sure you hop into it and turn that front shoulder. We're going to hop here and go. That'll get your momentum going towards first base as an infielder or going towards the infielder as an outfielder. A crow hop is a big mechanical part of baseball. Learn to do it right away. Now when you're catching a fly ball, The biggest problem that youth do is they put the ball on top of their head. They get too far underneath it and they catch the ball moving back, or they don't catch it at all. We want to make sure that the ball is coming down in front of us. And we'd like to catch the ball with two hands on our throwing side. We'd also like to have our glove foot forward. So when we catch the ball here, we just take one crow hop, turn, and throw. Make sure two hands, throwing side, head high. Don't take it from here over here. Make sure you're going towards the infield. You'll pick up some velocity, take a good crow hop, and you'll be a better outfielder. Let's talk about the football pass drill. There's a couple things you need to know. First of all, never run with your glove extended. You can't run holding it out here, all right? Never run holding on to your glove. You got to run as if you don't have a glove on, then at the last second you throw it out and catch it. It's very, very important you understand that. Here's the tough one to explain, especially to little kids. Sometimes you need to catch the ball with one hand, because all great catches are caught with one hand. Sometimes two hands ties you up. You can't reach as far with two as you can with one. So kids, don't be afraid to catch the ball with one hand. You can make some great catches. Let's see it. Let's go, guys. Catch that ball with one hand. Come on, Zach, go get it. Stretch him out, Wall. Stretch him out. Attaboy, nice catch. You got to catch that ball with one hand. Attaboy. Okay, here's another drill that will really help you even as an infielder or an outfielder. It's called a diving drill. Kids have got to gain confidence that they can dive for a ground ball and knock it down and still make a great play. An infielder must dive at a ball, prevent it from going through in the outfield. You can prevent a run from scoring. An outfielder can dive in the gap, prevent an extra base hit. Kids will gain confidence, they'll get a little bit more aggressive. I think they can make a better infielder and outfielder when you do these diving drills, and boy do they love them. Let's try them. Here we go, guys. Nice catch. Attaboy. Get up. You gotta go. You gotta go. Let's go. You gotta move. You gotta move. Comes back. Yes. Nice catch right there. You gotta move. Come on. Yes. Attaboy. Nice dive right there. Come on, move. One hand dive. One hand. You gotta go. Attaboy, Cody. You gotta go. Come on. Come on. Yes. Look at you flopping around. Kids, I know you don't want to play outfield because you'd rather play the infield position, but this outfield is very, very important. Remember, if the ball is hit over your head, there's nobody else to get it. So take a lot of pride. Remember, take a good crow hop. Put the ball in front of you. Make sure you're moving forward as you catch the ball. Don't put it over the top of your head. Get your arm way up, pull the ball down, get a good carry on it, take a good strong crow hop. Charge the ball so you close that gap between you and the infielders. And you can be a good outfielder. It's very, very important, and you can save a lot of runs for your team. Take pride in being a good outfielder.
One of the most overlooked parts of the game of baseball is base running. Speed and quickness are great things to have, but if you don't use them properly, they can actually hurt you in a game situation. You would be amazed just how many games over the course of a baseball season are won or lost on the base paths.
Let's talk about base running right now, and part of the game that I think is very overlooked and part of the game that coaches and young guys don't work on enough. Today we're going to talk about running through the base. There's a ground ball in the infield, it's going to be a bang-bang play at first base, and you need to know how to run through the base to give yourself the best chance to be called safe. The first thing I want you guys to know is that it doesn't matter what foot comes up and hits the bag, but whatever foot comes up and hits the bag, you hit the front third of the bag. If you hit the front third of the bag, you have a chance of being called safe. If you hit the middle or the end of the bag, you're going to be out on the play. As I hit the front third of the bag, I'm going to lean. And the reason why I lean is because that looks a lot quicker than hitting the bag like this. And the umpire is going to use his eyes to make a call. The second reason why I'm going to look over my right shoulder is I want to see as I cross the bag if that ball has gotten by the first baseman. Make sure you always take a look over your right shoulder as you cross the bag. As I cross the bag, I'm safe, but now I got to learn how to break it down. I got to take 2 hard strides past the bag, and I'm going to shuffle down. And now I'm going to turn into my right side. Always, if you're safe at first base on a bang-bang play and the ball hasn't gotten by the first baseman, always turn into your right or turn into foul ball territory. Let's get back to the bag, and let's get ready for the next play. Another part of base running that we're going to work on is how to make a turn around first base. You've just hit the ball, it's fair, it's a base hit, and now you need to know how to approach the base to make the turn and give yourself a best chance to go to second base or farther on. First of all, when we leave the batter's box, we're going to take 2 strides, and then we're going to get out right away. We're not going to run halfway down the baseline and make a question mark turn, but we're going to get out wide right away. And as we cut it in, as it's a gradual turn in, we're going to hit the inside corner of the base. Doesn't matter what foot I hit the inside corner with, but whatever foot comes up, you've got to hit the top inside corner of the base for 2 reasons. Number 1, when I hit the inside corner of the base, I can use it as a starting block. I have something to push off of to gain momentum to second base. Also, when I use the inside corner of the base, dipping my left shoulder in, it puts me in a direct straight line to second base, so it's the shortest distance possible for me to go to 2. Remember, when it comes to base running, don't let it be an afterthought. You need to work on base running as much as you do the other skills of the game. A great way to end practice is to get everybody together and make them run through the base and let them work on making their turns to second base. Don't let it be an afterthought. You need to work on it. And again, the better you work at it, the better base runner you'll become.
Hitting a baseball, just how difficult is it? Well, think about it this way. If you get a hit just 3 times out of every 10 times you come to the plate, then people will consider you a very good hitter. What if you only got 30% of the questions right in a big test? The fact is that it's extremely difficult to hit a round object, a baseball, with another round object, a bat. Add to that the decision in when and where to swing, balance, timing, quickness. It's no wonder that batting 300 is considered such a feat. However, it can be done. With proper technique and plenty of practice, everyone can be a good hitter.
Before we even talk about hitting, you got to talk probably about the most important thing, and that's choosing a bat. Make sure the bat's light enough that a kid can swing. If the bat's too heavy, he's going to drag it through the hitting area, and he's not going to be a good hitter. If in doubt, choose a lighter bat, and you're going to be a better hitter because of swinging the bat quicker and having the proper equipment. Here's a chart that might help you choose the proper bat. Now let's talk about a good hitting position. Make sure, before we get started, make sure we put the bat in the fingers, where the fingers start to grow out of your hand. Don't put it back against your palm. You're going to be a real slow hitter. Put it out in your fingers, wrap the bat around, and you'll be good. Next thing, make sure we get the bat hands high. We want the hands above the shoulder. We want the hands back off our shoulder, elbow down and elbow down. The next big key point is make sure the bat is flat or somewhat horizontal to the ground. He'll be in a much better hitting position. He'll hit balls up and down much easier and put the ball in play much better. This is the key hitting position. Hands high, elbows down, and the bat flat. Okay, let's talk about a stance. It's very important for a kid to get his feet somewhat parallel to each other. Don't get too closed or too open. Make sure they're wider than shoulder width. I like the feet a little bit wider than our shoulders. You have a better balance position. It's much more workable a little bit wider. Once we get a little bit wider than shoulder width, all our weight stays inside our body and we have a much better balanced position. Feet level or square and a little bit wider than shoulder width is a good hitting position. Another mechanic of hitting is our stride and what we do with our bottom half. Very, very important. Make sure that when we stride short, 4 to 6 inches. We want to stride directly back towards the pitcher, keeping our weight back and our arms back and our head doesn't slide forward. Also, when you stride, that front foot should stride closed or square, keeping the knee closed, hip and shoulder. We want to make sure we go this way and we don't fly open. Because when we fly open, so does our knee, hip, and shoulder, and that's a lousy way to hit. Make sure also that after you stride, this back foot pivots. It's a violent move in hitting. We've got to really turn to clear our bottom half so we can throw our hands through. One key element, if you swing and you fall away from the plate at all, you haven't pivoted your back foot. Make sure you're either on balance, or I don't care if you swing and fall slightly across the plate. That means you've got a good back foot pivot. Let's review some of the key points of hitting. Make sure our stance is square. Make sure that we're not too close to the plate, too far away. We have proper plate coverage. Make sure our hands are high. Elbows down, bat flat. Make sure our feet are square. We have a short stride back towards the pitcher. Our back foot pivots. We throw our hands at the ball, and we want a good head position looking right down at the pitch. Make sure we don't come off of it. We want to throw our head right down the barrel and hit the ball out front. If you do those keys, you can be a good hitter.
One of the funny things about hitting is there really is no one way to hit. You should find the best way for you and stay with it. However, the fundamentals that Larry showed us should be followed and will be a good starting point for you if you are to become a good hitter. Talk about a forgotten art, bunting that is. Hey, I can understand why, I guess. Everybody wants to be a big home run hitter. Everybody wants to swing away. But sometimes your team will need you to bunt. It's a very important part of this team game. And when you're called upon to lay one down in a clutch situation, you better be prepared. Some key points. When I walk up to the plate, I know that I'm going to bunt. I have to sacrifice bunt. I'm going to move up on the plate, and I'm going to move up in the box. This helps me when I pivot to get the barrel out in fair territory. So I'm going to bring the barrel over the top of my shoulder, not under. I bring it over because now it allows me to put the barrel in fair territory. I'm up on the plate, I'm up in the box. Now when I pivot on my backside and I bring this barrel over the top of my shoulder, it is in fair territory. I slide my hand up to give me balance with the bat. I move my bottom hand up slightly because this is the guide hand. This is the hand that I'm going to use to steer the ball on the ground. So it looks like this. Over the top, I pivot on my back foot. I bring the barrel into fair territory. I want it high in the strike zone. This is my guide hand. I use my legs to take me up and down. I place the barrel at the top of the strike zone. Anything above that, I'm not going to try and bunt at. Where most kids get in trouble is they leave the barrel flat. Now they try and bunt the ball, or they're too far back. So when this barrel comes over, I press, I pivot my backside, barrel comes in fair territory, I slide my hand up, I slide my bottom hand up, I move up and down. This is my guide hand. Now I can place this ball right on the ground. Some of the language we use is, think about putting a glove right here, and I'm going to try and catch the ball. Out front, boom, I place the ball right on the ground. Bunting, very important part of the game. This is a team sport. Everybody should learn how to bunt. It's not the most glamorous part, but late in the ball game when your team's behind by 1 run, 7th, 8th, and 9th inning, and you're called on to bunt, you better be able to do it. It's a very, very important part of the game.
Hi, I'm Fran Healy. I've joined Bucky Dent here in Sports Camp for a little Q&A on how to help in the development of a young ball player. Bucky, let's start with the age. How old should a player be or a youngster be before he takes up baseball?
Well, Fran, you know, every dad that has a son is going to want to put a bat and ball in his hand real quick, but there's some great programs out there. And, you know, 5 or 6 years old, T-ball, coach pitch programs. So I think 5 or 6 is a good time to start putting your son into an organized program.
Let's talk about equipment. The bat, the glove.
Bat's going to depend, each kid's going to be different, stronger, smaller. What we try to tell the parent is, and even to the high school kids, is what is the best fastball that I'm going to hit this year that I'm going to be able to get the bat out in front. And if you're going to make a mistake, make it on the lighter side, because he has to have hand speed. Hand speed and hitting is really, really important. So you want him to be able to get that bat through the zone. So the bat should be somewhat on the lighter side if you're going to make a mistake.
What about the glove?
Glove, same thing. Each position is different. Every parent wants to go to the store and get their kid the biggest glove, and we say, don't do that, because he has to be able to handle it. He has to be able to use his hands to catch a fly ball, to catch a ground ball. I really tell the middle infielders, it's better to have a smaller glove, because you have to be able to get the ball out on a double play, be able to, you know, get it out when you're charging the ball. So we tell them again, if you're going to make a mistake on the smaller side. Should a child concentrate on just one position, or should he learn a lot of positions? I don't think so. You know, back when we played seasonal. We played baseball, football, basketball. I feel that a kid should play all sports. It's going to help him with his hand-eye coordination. It's going to develop him as far as his running skills. So I tell parents, let him play other sports, because then when he comes back to baseball the next year, he's going to be rejuvenated. He's going to want to get out there, and he's going to want to get after it a little bit harder. Now, how about on the baseball field itself? Should a child move around learning different positions? Absolutely. I tell them all, learn every position on the baseball field, because you never know when the coach is going to say, hey, I need a guy to play third base. I tell them, learn them all, because you know, you never know what position you're going to be really good at until you play them all and you learn to develop those skills at each position. But you know, the big thing is when a coach says, hey, I need a guy to play right field. You want to play? Go out and play right field. Learn to play them all. Now, should you try and play baseball all year round? Like I said earlier, I think kids should play different sports. It gets them away from it. I believe, you know, when you're playing a game of baseball, you got to develop different skills, and some of the other sports helps you do that. Soccer, basketball helps you develop your hand-eye coordination. So I like for kids to play other sports. If I want a child to play professionally baseball, what do you do to help him? Well, there's a lot of things. Number one, you want them to be in a good program. Work with them, encourage them. The biggest thing in developing your kid to become a good baseball player is encourage him and make him have fun at doing it. If he's having fun and he wants to go to practice, he's going to learn. He's going to want to go, and he's going to want to develop and be a better baseball player. So parents have got to encourage them and help them want to do it by being positive with them. Now, you've dealt with a lot of parents over 28 years. How do you stop a parent from living their life through the child's baseball? We tell them it's their time. We've had our time. And I do it with my son too. He's 10 years old, and I go to the games and I pace back and forth and everything. But the biggest thing that we found is kids play better when they're relaxed. And you know, too many parents today, you know, they yell, they scream, you know, because they want to live through, you know, their kids and stuff like that. Let them enjoy it. Let them have fun playing out there. And they don't respond very well when they're yelled at. And, you know, when they're yelled at, everybody tightens up. Nobody likes that. So when you're there, encourage them, be positive with them, and be supportive of them, and you'll see your kids start to develop a lot better.
What's the most difficult thing to teach a young athlete?
Discipline as far as work ethic. You know, getting them to want to practice, getting them to want to do it. Over the course of the years, you know, that's the big thing is making them understand what it takes to be a professional baseball player. Is discipline, work ethic, get in a program that you're going to want to enjoy. And when you work, really work at it, really concentrate on it. Baseball's not an easy game. It's something that you have to do over and over and over. So the only way you're going to get better at it is to take 1,000 ground balls, swing the bat 1,000 times. I mean, that's the way you get better at playing a game.
How do you battle, for example, if you're from the Northeast, how do you stay in shape, baseball shape?
There's some great programs. I mean, today, baseball is a little more sophisticated as far as, you know, the strength programs that they do. The indoor gym facilities are a lot better than when we came up. But there's things that you can do. You don't have to have a structured program. You can take your partner, if you're middle infielder or whatever, you can go bounce that ball up against the wall, work on your backhand, work on your underhand, work on your footwork as far as you know, what you're trying to do. And the more you do it, the more the muscle memory comes in, the easier it is. I mean, you can still throw in the gym. You can still do a lot of things to keep your coordination there so that when you do go outside, it's a lot easier.
Tell us about your baseball school.
Well, I've been doing this 28 years, and we've seen an awful lot of kids come through the program. We've seen some good ones that have really, over the years, developed, and that's the fun part of the game, is to see a kid come to the program when he's 8 years old, that he takes the game serious, and he goes back and he works on the things that you're talking about. You know, the strength training program, the arm exercises, developing the hand-eye coordination, and seeing them grow into mature baseball players. That's the fun part.
The word strength, was it used as much 28 years ago as it is today?
Not as much. The guys today, the athletes today have a big advantage of what we had. There's so much, I mean, the facilities and the strength programs that you can get in is so far superior than when we played. You know, when we came up, you know, we worried about certain areas, and then we went to spring training to get in shape. Today, athletes train year-round because of the programs, the running programs, the programs you can get into for strength training, for hand-eye coordination, for agility to become a better player. So they're a lot more sophisticated today.
If you were to recommend one sport that would have a positive influence on your ability to play baseball, what would that other sport be?
Probably soccer and racquetball. Not just one, but I think two. Those are the two sports that is kind of interesting. In '72, I asked my infield instructor the same thing. How do I keep where I'm at right now in the wintertime? And he told me to take a soccer ball, kick it up against the wall. And then I started playing racquetball. Racquetball I felt was the nearest thing as far as the hand-eye coordination and the quickness and agility that I need to be a good shortstop. So those are two sports. I don't think just one, but I think there's two sports that you can really play and help develop the skills that you need to be a good baseball player.
Is there a certain age where a player would know whether or not he could go on, whether it's college baseball or professional baseball, or do you just keep rolling the dice?
I think you keep rolling the dice until somebody tells you your ability is not good enough, you know. And the other thing that we try to tell kids as they're coming through the school is work on your grades, because someday your skills are going to run out. But as far as that, you know, we tell them, keep playing the game. Play the game right up until to where you know that your ability is not going to take you any farther. Hey, thanks for visiting Sports Camp. I'm Bucky Dent, and remember, keep practicing. It's the only secret to getting better.